Well, welcome to this week's edition of Hawk Talk. I'm Seth Morkirky.
I'm Susanna Moberg.
We got another frequent flyer, as we call it, just like Coach O'Donnell. Go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do at DSU.
I'm Pete Stanton. I'm originally from Baker, Montana. I've been at Dickinson the last 20 years. I'm the head football coach at the university and also the athletic director.
Yeah, you know, that head football coach, that's a very, it's a very involving position, and that AD position is also extremely involving. So how do you balance those two?
Well, really, we try to map it out as the year starts, and we have a couple other athletic directors, Coach Fleury and Coach McCarville. You know, so during the football season, we're able to divide up some of those duties that, you know, we can't do. So obviously, you can't be at two places at the same time. Yeah. So we have really good help, and you know, so I end up taking care of a lot of the administrative type things, and those two end up taking care of a lot of the game day type of things, and then I'm working with the coaches as well. So, and as well as over 100 football players. So it stays pretty busy, but it works out well.
Yeah, and this past weekend, you guys beat Wisconsin lacrosse. I mean, a hard-fought game. Hayden took quite a few hits, but you guys battled back and you won the game. So, what did you see from the team?
A lot of resiliency, persevered. You know, I think the first half was tough. They were a really good team. You know, they're ranked 16th in the nation in Division III, and we ended up beating them out there last year. Came back this year. They had almost everybody back on defense. So a really physical team, and really took it to us in the first half. And at times maybe didn't look as good to the person who was watching, but you know, I think our guys, like I said, I think really hung in the second half and put together a 13-play drive and a 12-play drive, and made enough plays to just get the job done. And it was a real big win for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a few seniors on the team who have really contributed a lot over their careers. You know, Hayden, Derek, Kevin, Ahmad. Can you just talk a little bit about their experiences on the team and what they've brought to the team?
Yeah, really great leadership all the way across the board. You know, Derek and Kevin and Hayden are our captains. You know, Hayden Gibson, our quarterback, and Kevin Brown, one of our linebackers, and Derek Vanderbush. And you know, those two are all conference players and guys that really our guys trust, and you know, with that leadership role. And then we have a lot of other seniors, as you mentioned, on the team that just do a great job of leading, whether it's, you know, doing the right thing on the field, off the field, making sure our other guys are in the right place. And you think about the things that we've had on the field, you know, they do a good job of leading, and we just haven't had a lot of distractions, and it's really a credit to those guys that are good, just really good people and great leaders.
We asked this question, I guess, to Coach Vaughn last season on Hawk Talk, but for you as the coach, is there anything you do on game day or leading up to game day that's kind of your ritual or like a superstition, good luck thing you do?
Not really. I'm not too. You know, I think we just kind of go through. Really, it's just the same pattern, the same routine every time. I just kind of know. I do kind of go in. It takes your mind off it going in. Our red shirts usually lift on Saturday morning, so I usually go in with them and check in with them, because I don't get to see the red shirts or the young guys as a lot, you know, as much during the year. And then I always have my thing with Rod Kleingen down at the radio show down right after breakfast. But nothing really unique or specific that do that way. Just think about how we got to try to win the game and do the right things.
Well, speaking of winning a game, we're playing Waldorf this weekend. Last year went down there, lost. I mean, in just a heartbreaker. And I think they're returning quite a few guys on both sides of the ball. So, what's the game plan? How are you preparing the team for this?
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult game. I think people maybe not realize how good a team here we're playing. As you mentioned, a team that beat us last year, and you know, their quarterback could have graduated and decided to stay and get a master's degree. So he's back, and he was a player of the year in the conference last year. They have very fast receivers. They're going to be unique and different from Wisconsin lacrosse, where Wisconsin lacrosse is physical, and so are these guys as well, but their speed at receivers is so much better than Wisconsin lacrosse's, and their quarterback is just really dynamic, and he's a good player. And I think where they really changed too is their defense has gotten so improved. We saw that last year, and we see that again this year. They're really holding people down. So we're going to have a really difficult game, and you know, we figured so when the season started with these guys. They're a good team.
Yeah. Well, you've had a lot of experience at DSU. You mentioned the 20 years that you've been here, coaching, teaching. Now you're the AD. Do you ever miss that teaching aspect or coaching track or any of those other?
Most definitely the teaching part of it. Right. I do. You know, and I do think coaching's teaching, but you know, I always thought the interaction with the students in the classroom, I do miss that probably a lot. Yeah. You know, I think that it was always good. I got to be around the football players a lot, and I got to be around track athletes when I was coaching, but I really really enjoyed the teaching part, not only to be able to help, you know, the different Phi Ed majors or exercise science majors, but to meet other students on campus.
Right.
And I've lost that connection the last couple of years, you know, with just meeting the different students on campus. So that's probably the thing that I miss the most.
Probably our viewers know that there is a pretty big remodel happening over in Weenbergen with the weight room project. Can you just tell us a little bit about that project, about the donors, the work that's being done for that?
Yeah, we started that campaign last spring, and we were able to get 4 or 5 donors who we will announce, you know, later on who helped out with that. You know, really significant that we were able to get that help, because we were able to build the weight room through really all private funding and some matching funds and things like that. So we started that process. Then this summer, then we were able to move everything up to Weenbergen upstairs and get that taken care of. And now it's just kind of been a little longer process when you have different contractors going and flooring things going on and weight equipment going on at the same time. It's been a little slower than we thought. We're hoping here in the next couple of weeks, you know, right around homecoming, really to try to be able to do, you know, do an open house and be able to recognize all the donors that helped us. But it's really right now we have the lighting in there, and the wall work is getting pretty close to completed. We're going to have some new Blue Hawk branding in there. Nice. We're going to have brand new weight equipment in there, and right now they're just finishing or just getting going with the flooring, which should be done this week. The equipment should be in next week, and then hopefully all the finish up things would be the following week. So it's really going to be exciting for our student athletes, and I know our teachers downstairs are going to appreciate it too, because they're lifting upstairs and the weights are hitting pretty hard downstairs and disrupting a little bit of the classroom downstairs. But it's really going to be a nice thing for our student athletes and all of our students. You know, they're going to all be welcome to use that and use that facility with our classes or just general workouts. It's going to be a really nice addition. I think it's going to help us in recruiting as well when we see what type of facility that's going to be. Yeah.
Some other exciting things happen. There's just lots of exciting things happening. But we've got some JV teams that are back. You know, JV volleyball has played a few games already this season. Baseball is back. So can you just tell us about those programs and what we can expect?
Yeah, I think, you know, we have, as you mentioned, this year we have volleyball already playing the JV games, and that's been successful. There's over 20 volleyball members on the team, so they're actually, you know, the games that are closer, or the regional games, they're playing JV games, and our basketball, the goal will be then for next year to play basketball for both men's and women's basketball. So it gives them a year to recruit and to get those numbers. And I think a couple things that really helps, it gets more students involved on campus, gets more student athletes in the area an opportunity to play sports in the university if they want to do that. So that's exciting. I think a couple other areas, you mentioned one of them, baseball, and also our cheerleading. We have a really active group this year that's going, and they're going to get into more of a competitive phase next year. And then of course we hired Coach Dahl this summer for baseball, and we've already signed about 5 student athletes for baseball. And obviously the goal will be next year to play with about 30 members on the team. So he's actively recruiting all year to fill that team, and we're really excited about that. I think it's going to not only bring a lot of numbers to our program, but I think just bring a lot of opportunity to a lot of different students throughout the region to participate in sports.
Yeah, that's really great. You know, the coaching staff, I know Coach Thier is quite a talented graphic designer, as we'll say, but is there any other coaches or things about some of the coaches that we might not know about just from watching the games?
Yeah, I think they all have they're pretty talented that way. Coach McGuire is just really talented on a lot of different things that he does. You know, he also directs the intramurals, but very organized, very on top of things. They're all way more tech savvy than I have. They have to teach me a lot of things on that. I'm as far as the Twitter game, I do that.
You're pretty strong. You finally followed me on Twitter.
I'm in last place. I'm in last place on Twitter, and all the other things outside of Twitter, I don't know any of that. So you start talking Instagram and all that kind of thing. I don't know.
Nope.
No, that's beyond me. But those guys are really talented. And I think that, you know, they add a lot to, you know, energy. You know, all those coaches. You know, Coach McCarville. I think, you know, one of the things that all of them do on a serious note is just bring a lot to the university too. You know, the coaches that we have on our staff. It's not just about football. You know, they're involved with things. They're going to different games. They're you know, some of them teach. Some of them, like I mentioned, are in intramurals and all that. And like I said, I think I hear that from a lot of people how good they are on Twitter. They've got a lot of good Twitter things going. So.
Very good. Well, you've been on the show before, so we've asked you our typical last question a few times, so we'll mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
So this time, why would you recommend DSU to people? Or in your opinion, what makes DSU special?
I think the first word that comes to mind is family. You know, we have that family environment, I think, not only in athletics, but across campus, and you see it with our instructors. You know, our instructors and just get to know our students so well, and they're at contests, they're at games, they care, you know, they care, and I think that's one big thing, I think, with our instructors, and I think that family environment, and then I think goes all into the community of Dickinson too. The community of Dickinson really cares about Dickinson State and supports Dickinson State. So you're going to come here and not only get a great degree, but I think our reputation of being a family and having great tradition, and then being able to go out and really be successful in what you do, I think is really something special about Dickinson State.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we've talked a few times about you being a frequent flyer on the show, and that we should probably get you like a shirt or something. So guess what we did? We have a little gift for you here. Thanks to Immovable Ministries, who's one of our sponsors this year. We have these awesome shirts, right? Immovable Ministries and the foundation. That say, I flew on Hawk Talk.
And these are for all of the people who will be now coming on the show. We thought it might be, and we'll get you some pins now for
exactly. Now every time you come on, we'll have to get you that thing. So here you go. Yes, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for the great job that you two do. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been our pleasure.
Yeah, we love it. With that, we'll be right back after this with another athlete, first time around the show. Stick around.
Hey guys, it's Tyler with Immovable Ministries here, and I'm so excited to be able to be the sponsor for this year's Hawk Talk. If you'd like to find out more about Immovable Ministries, you can visit our website at immovableministries.com.
Welcome back to this episode of Hawk Talk, sponsored by Immovable Ministries. We have a first-time guest on the show today we're really excited about. So we'll let you introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do here at DSU.
My name is Kiera Schneider. I am from Dickinson, North Dakota, and I do cheerleading here.
Yes, exactly. Can you tell us a little bit about, from Dickinson, how did you choose DSU? Kind of what's your journey to DSU?
Well, I had a couple of options when I was going. Mainly I wanted to go for cheer, but Dickinson State didn't have very much of a cheer program at the time. So that was not one of my big places that I was looking at. Mm-hmm. And time went on, and I was looking actually at South Dakota State University. Mm-hmm. And then my mom came up and was like, I'm starting a cheer program. And I was like, wow, okay. All right. And she let me try out, and I made the team, and I chose DSU.
Yeah,
cool. And awesome. We're glad you did.
We're glad you're here. You know, last year, like you mentioned, the cheer team kind of came on the scene. It was basically the intro year, and you guys, I mean, you did a great job. But this year, it's like you guys are even greater. So talk about that transformation from last year to all the stuff you guys are doing this year.
Well, it's been really fun. I think we had like 9 athletes last year, counting Spirit Squad and cheer team and dance team. And this year, I think we are at 22. Yeah. Definitely a lot of talented people that have a passion for cheer, so that's really fun. Yeah. I'm just really excited about the growth, and I'm excited about competing and all of the fun stuff.
Yeah. And with that competing, with that fun stuff includes like flips and tumbles and crazy things like that. So, I mean, how long have you been doing that, and do you ever get nervous to do those kind of things?
Definitely get nervous, but it depends on the skill, I guess. I've been doing cheer since my freshman year of high school, but I've always kind of shadowed the high school cheerleaders since I was in 6th grade, because I thought they were so cool. So I worked at tumbling, which is like the flips, since 7th grade. And I guess when it comes to skills, depending on the surface, so if we're on a mat, I'm not really as nervous to throw a standing back tuck, but if we get on the track that people are running on, I'll get
Yeah.
a little nervous, but that's just me. There's some athletes on our team that are like, I'll flip on anything. And I'm like, all right.
Good for them. I can't even do a cartwheel, so I am always so impressed
flip
when I
on the
see you guys.
trampoline.
Like, no, can't even do that either. I can't even do a somersault, actually, now that we're thinking about it. So you just, all of you impress me so
Very
much
impressive.
when I see you. We have kind of a fun question for you today, so I want you to think very hard and long about this question. But if animals could talk, which one would be the rudest?
An owl.
Okay, wow, fast answer.
Fast answer.
Why an owl?
Because, I don't know, I just think owls are kind of rude, I guess.
Okay, that's fair.
That was
Seth?
a really quick answer. I
What
wasn't
would you
expecting-
pick? Did you have an
I
animal in
don't
mind?
donkey, I think, is that the classic
Okay,
one?
yeah, I think a
They call
donkey is
it-
pretty classic.
Pretty classic, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think I'd
just
probably pick like a lion or something, just because king of the jungle. Like, do you think they'd be a little?
never know if they're rude though.
Or crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll let you have
Hey,
one.
well, an owl. I like it. The
I would pick an
confidence that you
owl.
said that answer with that was
That was
crazy.
great.
All right, next, a kind of another fun kind of ish question. Where is the oddest place you've ever cheered?
Let me think here. There's been a couple weird ones. Sometimes we do community events. I can't think of anything in particular, but it'll be like just like a community event, and they'll be like, "Can you do a cheer for us?" Or like the nail salon, they're like, "You're a cheerleader. Can you do a cheer?"
Oh, yep.
So
Nail salon.
that'll happen. So
That
that's
could be
fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, sometimes in North Dakota, people are shy to start cheering like at events. I've noticed this sometimes. So I wonder, do you ever struggle like getting a crowd involved to cheer, and how do you overcome something like that?
Definitely. Even last year, we kind of struggled with that. I'll take the football games, for instance, or the volleyball games. We'd go and try to be an asset to like pumping up the crowd and getting them hyped for the players. And because that's not something they were really used to, it was hard to get them engaged.
Yeah.
So the way we overcome that is try to just be as like crazy and spirited as we can be to make them a little uncomfortable. To be like, okay, I'll cheer with you.
Okay, might as well cheer. Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely something that comes with a new program, and that's something that we've worked on in our crowd from last year to this year. We're obviously the best fans ever, but I think there's been a huge improvement when we're starting cheers, trying to get like defense pumped up. They'll start stomping their feet. The crowd will be rumbling, and that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything about cheerleading that you think people would be surprised by to learn?
I think there's a lot of things. There's that traditional view on cheerleading, the pom-poms and pretty people, which is like, I guess, an aspect of it, but it's a lot more physical and athletic than it has ever been. And I don't think that's something people still realize. They look at the pretty faces and the pom-poms and I think see that, but there's a new generation of cheerleading and it's coming up and it's so much more athletic than anything that I've ever experienced in a sport, but that's definitely something that I feel like people overlook.
I know you guys have practiced for like 8 hours at a time, or things like you're in the gym for like the whole day. I don't know if you guys get breaks in there, but I know like that's an insane. I don't know if any other
Oh my
sport
gosh.
does that, so it's always just really impressive. So talk about the practice that goes into cheerleading.
Sure. So we had some practices. I think they were 8-hour practices during the summer, like twice a week. Having a new team, it was important to learn the material that we have to know. And obviously when it comes to tumbling and stunting and all of the things that come with that, it's important that you're being as safe as you can. Therefore, you have to learn crazy technique and you have to learn it and make it like second nature.
Yeah.
So that comes before you can even start the cool stuff. So there's a lot of steps that we have to take and it's taken very seriously, and obviously the safety is number one. So
Yeah.
a lot of practicing on perfecting before we get to the cool stuff. So that's where a lot of that time went, but also perfecting and making sure we look good and collegiate for the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, you guys put in so much time, and I think it shows on game day. But I think some people maybe don't have a reason, or maybe are still unsure if they should come to DSU athletic events. So why would you tell someone to come to an athletic event?
Oh, it's just such a great experience. Like when I think of the college experience, the first thing that pops into my head is football games. And if you're not attending those athletic events, and like, you should be studying and working on school and stuff, but I think a part of the college experience is those football games, and DSU puts on one of the best shows when it comes to NAIA. And I think like even ranking us like with like putting on the show like D1 colleges, like you go there and it's like a show, and here at DSU it's the same thing, and it just makes the experience so much more fun.
Yeah. Well, here's a crazy question I got to ask. Last weekend, there was like this storm or a raid on Area 51. They called it. They said storm Area 51. So tell me, what do you think is behind Area 51?
I don't know. I feel like it's just not my business, I guess.
Okay.
Yes, Seth.
Susanna, what do you think?
You know,
I know you have an opinion about this.
I really don't. I'm not going to lie. Like, I heard the Area 51 things, and I just kind of ignored it.
I thought it was cool.
Wasn't really my thing. What do you think is behind Area 51?
I saw a bunch of memes that said,
You
like,
have an opinion.
It said like all the aliens at Area 52 were looking at all the aliens being rescued at Area 51, and they were saying like, help me and all this. So there's just a lot of
aliens, you think there's
conspiracy.
some
I don't know if there's aliens or what's back there, but I wouldn't doubt that something's being kept secret from the American people. But
Maybe
that's just my
dinosaurs.
opinion, I guess. Kind of into conspiracy.
All right, back to you. In this interview, we have a question that we try to ask everyone who comes on the show, kind of our staple question, and it's our last question before we have a little surprise gift for you. So, in your opinion, what does DSU mean to you?
Oh man. I think community is like the first thing that comes to mind. I think we have such a great support system when it comes to community, and I think when it comes to like the athletics too here, everybody supports everybody, and that's huge, and there's so much respect that goes to each other, and like I think that's just the best. I think DSU is so great, and I'm so happy that I chose to come here. So.
Well, we're so happy that you chose to come here, and to show you our appreciation that you've chosen to come on Hawk Talk, we have a little gift for you. It's our new I Flew on Hawk Talk t-shirts, sponsored by Immovable Ministries. So here you go. Thank you so much for flying on Hawk Talk with us. Hopefully we get you back soon.
Yeah, give you a pin or two, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. A few. I visited a few times.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you, Kiera, for coming on, having you on this interview. We'll be right back after this with another athlete. Yeah.
Here come your Blue Hawks. Steps into the throw, in the wind, down to the goal line, and caught! Touchdown, Blue Hawks!
Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. So thankful to Immovable Ministries for being our sponsor. We have a guest on the show, first time. We haven't had many rodeo girls on the show, so we are excited. Go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do here at DSU.
I'm Lacey Fortis. I'm on the rodeo team. I'm actually originally from Dickinson, so I'm native to here.
There we go.
And the events I do in rodeo are barrels, goat tying, team roping, and breakaway. And I'm actually one of the only girls to be in all 4 events. So
That's a lot of events.
it's a lot to handle.
Well, how did you get into rodeo in the first place, and when did you start?
So I grew up on a ranch with my dad and my grandpa. So I was around horses like all my life, and when we moved to different houses, I really wanted to join rodeo. So I asked my dad if he could get me a horse that would actually work, not just a ranch horse, you know. So I started when I was about 7, and I've worked at it ever since, and
That's cool.
I've loved it. And I can't tell you how many clinics I've been to try to get better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just my passion. It's what I've always wanted to do, and I want to continue to do it and hopefully go pro one day. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you mentioned you're from Dickinson, moved away, but why did you choose to come back to DSU? And were there other places, I guess, that you were thinking about?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about going to Black Hills,
Okay.
but it was just kind of inconvenient because I lived here and I had horses here,
Yeah.
and it was just so much easier to come here. And plus, like, I knew the rodeo coach already, and I knew most of the people on the rodeo team just because I was from here, and so I was back and forth. It was a really hard decision, but I love it here, and I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you were telling us a little bit about the events you do, and one of them you said team roping, and the other ones we know are more individual. So, in your opinion, is rodeo overall more of a team sport or more of an individual sport?
Both. It's both. So team-wise, you and your horse are a team. That is a team. Like, you wouldn't be able to do rodeo without them. So it is a team, but individually, like for breakaway or for team roping, you have to be able to rope to, place or do good. So you have to work on yourself too. So it's individual and team. So.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I hadn't really thought about that, like you and the horse as the team thing, but obviously that's kind of the most important thing. We know a few weeks ago now, actually, wasn't it, that they broke ground on the outdoor practice arena here at DSU, bringing that back. So what does the addition of that arena do, not only for you, but for the team as a whole?
So it is a huge thing because if we want to practice outside, we have to go all the way out of town and go practice at the new facility, and it's just kind of a hassle. Yeah. And the indoor arena, we don't really like to practice in the indoor just because it's so small, and we want to be outside. Yeah. So with having it right next to where all of our stuff is, it's so much easier, and it's super exciting. We couldn't be more thankful for all the people that donated their time to have that. So yeah.
It's a really beautiful facility. We are very excited for the development and getting that all going. You talked about the 4 events that you do. I mean, that's seems like a lot. And
oh my gosh.
I've only rode a horse one time.
But he's like a professional, pretty much.
Yeah. That's true.
You can show me some stuff then?
Yeah, I know everything about it. But it was fun. Back to the question, sorry. The 4 events, I mean, they seem like they're kind of different. They're maybe similar to each other, but maybe explain what they all are to us, even though we know rodeo, but just maybe to the viewers, explain.
Yeah.
So barrel racing is where they set up 3 trash cans for the most part. And it's a cloverleaf pattern, and the fastest time wins. Breakaway is where the girls rope the calf. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know how to more elaborate on that. Team roping is where you have a partner, a header, and a heeler, and I heel. So my header will rope the horns on the steer, and I will rope the legs, and you get a time. The fastest time wins in that. And then goat tying. We kind of have we've been told we're super crazy because we jump off a horse at Mach 90, they're going as fast as they can, and we get off and we tie these goats, and the fastest time wins there too. But we've been told we're super crazy.
Is your team roping partner from Dickinson? Because we interviewed Geraldine last year, and I remember she was saying that her partner is actually at Black Hills State, and they didn't practice together. They basically practice before the event and then go.
Yeah. So actually, this year my team roping partner is from here, Jada Mahar. Okay. Last year I had a team roping partner from Sisterton Wapaton. Her name is Morgan. That was hard just because you don't get to practice with your teammate, and it's kind of, but we made it work. But this year I was fortunate enough to be able to practice with my teammate.
Yeah. So how does that work getting paired with someone who's not from here?
So
what's that process?
Your coach is a lot to do with it. He's able to reach out to other coaches that are looking for header healers, and they kind of just match you up, and if you want to rope with them, you can, and they'll give you contact information, and it kind of goes from there.
Yeah. I didn't realize that it was like an
Rodeo is crazy.
Inner school thing.
Yeah.
Well, we know that the rodeo is on the road a lot. When we hear about you guys, you're traveling somewhere very far away. So what's that like for you to balance going to school, being on these long road trips frequently? How do you balance those 2 things?
It's very difficult. Last year being a freshman, I felt so overwhelmed with how many credits I had, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect, and then having that, it was just a full whoa. But the teachers are really understanding, and they're really they really want to help you get through that kind of stuff. And with being on the road for so long, you're kind of able to do your homework and get all of it done. But it's still really stressful, and you kind of have to get the hang of it to, move on from it. But
Well, speaking of travel, you guys are heading to Fort Dodge, Iowa this weekend. Very far away, really far away.
Yeah,
It's out of North
so
Dakota.
far away.
So far away. I wonder, do you guys, do you get familiar with other rodeo grounds? Were you going there enough to maybe familiarize, or does the horse get familiar with the grounds?
Yeah, so being a freshman, obviously your horses and you have no idea what to expect. And like the seniors, upperclassmen are really, like, they really try to help you get comfortable with that situation. Like they'll show you videos of last year, how they did, just to kind of like what you should expect. But like this year, I kind of have like game plans of each rodeo so that I can really benefit from it, and my horses too.
Yeah.
The horses, I don't know. I can't really tell if they adapt to it, but as long as they trust me, I think that they're,
It's cool.
it's good.
Yeah.
So.
So we know that you and Alicia Dvorak are pretty close, and she graduated this last year.
Yeah.
She was on the rodeo team. She's now going to law school at UND, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But what is it like for you, and not only with Alicia, but for other seniors, what's it like to lose those seniors, lose that friendship after the year, and kind of have to rebuild those things?
It's hard. It's really hard. Alicia's been my best friend since we were little, so like losing her I haven't really lost her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she's not here, and it's different. It's really different. But with like meeting new people and having new people on the team, it's really easy to adapt to the rest and try to help the underclassmen. So I feel like we miss them, but we can do it without them too.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the last question we want to ask is kind of the staple question to the show that we've been developing is what does DSU mean to you?
Friendship. It means friendship, and like I can't tell you how many friends I made in the last 2 years. Like it's overwhelming how many friends you make, because everybody's so friendly here, and it's a great atmosphere to be in. And like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Well, we got a little gift for you for coming on the show. We want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for flying with us on Hawk Talk.
Thank you.
Thanks
for having me.
It's been a
Absolutely.
pleasure. We don't get to talk to
Thanks.
many rodeo people.
Because you're so busy, all of you.
We're gone all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We're excited for this fall, and then whatever the spring is going to bring for you guys as well.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And we'll be back right after this doing a little recap of last week and looking ahead to the next. Well, welcome back to Hawk Talk. Just going to do a quick recap. Volleyball this past week actually lost 4, but it was, every single one of those games was close, especially the Viterbo game. Viterbo, that was a fun game to watch. They lost in 3, but Viterbo is ranked 6th in the nation, and I think I think those girls really played extremely well. And then against Jamestown, also nationally ranked or receiving votes, and the girls played well against them as well. So, we're on the rise, and this weekend they're heading to Bellevue and Dakota State. A couple more conference games. This is when it. Games start to count.
They are really a lot of fun to watch. Not that like past seasons haven't been fun to watch, but this season, I don't know what it is, but I've been to a couple of those games, and they are just fun to watch this season.
Energetic, and
if you get a chance, stop out and watch those girls. They're doing a great job.
They're doing a great job.
Football this weekend was here, home against University of Wisconsin lacrosse, and we did win. It came down to the wire, kind of, but it was a good game to watch, especially those last 2 quarters.
First quarter was a little slow. The second quarter.
Second quarter again.
Second half was.
But the second half really was a lot better, rainy, but worth it. When the sun came out, the Hawks won. It was a great day. And Seth, I think you wanted to go over a few people and their specific stats.
You didn't want to talk about them?
No.
Okay. Hayden Gibson, he had 2 touchdowns. Another solid performance he had. He was sacked quite a few times, had to flee the pocket quite a bit, but I think they're going to get that under control, and he really stepped up and led that team. Ahmad Andrews, 1 touchdown. He is now 6 touchdowns in 3 games. Very impressive stat. I think he's probably, our most solid offensive player, and we're excited to watch him. Dylan Reiner.
Him on the show.
We had him at the very beginning of the year.
Very beginning. We might have to get him on again. Keeps performing like this. We might have Have him on again.
Get him on again. You
Just
heard
saying.
that? You heard it here first.
Here. Bold statement.
Dylan Reiner, he had an interception to kind of seal the game. Actually saved the game. Basically, they were. I mean, it was a touchdown.
Oh
and
my
he
gosh,
swooped in.
the crowd was up.
And
It was so crazy.
Boy, it was
Yeah.
Dylan. Just a great play.
amazing.
And Kevin Brown led the defense with tackles, 8 tackles. We're gonna get him on one of these days.
Yeah.
I've been trying for 2 years, but he's a student. He's dedicated.
busy.
You know,
Yeah.
dedicated to school, so he doesn't want to miss class. But
Absolutely.
we're gonna get him on.
Yeah. And this weekend, we are at home again this
Again.
weekend against Waldorf.
Yep.
So,
Something exciting. We
Yes.
started the Blue Hawk game day last week. It was very
so
very
cool.
fun. We had quite an energetic guest
Guest,
on the show.
yep.
I'm not sure we will ever be able to top that, but we'll try. I
Yep.
don't know if it's about topping it or if it's just about having
hey,
fun. But
I
I think we're going to get that uploaded to YouTube, and you
Definitely.
should be able to check it out there. But we
lot of
will
fun.
be back this next weekend with our second episode of Blue Hawk Game Day at the tailgate right around 11 a.m. If you get
you want
there,
to watch that live,
Yep.
stop on down to
Yep.
the tailgate.
Show up about 10:30. You can watch the Hawk Walk and then watch us on the on the show.
You can maybe even get on the show.
Maybe make a
Just saying.
sign. Maybe.
Yeah, oh, see? Wow. Look how involved you could get in Blue Hawk Game Day.
Here we are.
We had Lacey on the show today with the rodeo, and we don't really have any stats for them yet, but we do know that this weekend they are heading to Fort Dodge. Long drive, but we're looking forward to hearing more about that and how she does in her 4 events that
5,000
she just
events. Yep.
like pretty much runs the rodeo.
Yeah.
So we're excited to hear how Lacey does and the rest of her team does at rodeo this weekend.
Yep. Cross country, they are off again. I believe next week is their first. Or not first, but they're back at it next week at Jamestown, and then it's just a couple more weeks, and then conference is right around the corner. And it's crazy. Next week is October, and
I know.
mean basketball starts in October. Wrestling probably kicks
Yeah.
off in November, December. But boy, we're moving right through the school year.
I
Last thing, golf. They were at home at over
Home.
in Medora, yeah. And like Coach said, they don't like to play there, but they do like to play there.
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be a tough course. I'm not a golfer, but it seems like it'd be a
Could be a
tough
golfer.
course. The men took 4th place at the tournament, and women took 2nd. And I believe he mentioned that they're going somewhere else to, I think, Fargo, but I'm not sure. Not on
Yeah.
the schedule, but we're going to try and figure that
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
Get some results to you. But yeah,
Seth has written here that golf is up to something.
to
So we're
something.
not sure quite what, but we know they're up to something,
they're up to something.
those golfers.
They really are. Well, everyone, we want to thank
Yeah.
you for continuing to watch the show, continuing to be, fans of the show. We appreciate it all. So much happening, moving. I mean,
know.
there's a lot of things going on.
Transition,
This is,
it's
our
crazy.
last couple of weeks are coming up.
know.
Not coming up, but these are our last episodes, and we're embracing it.
Having so much fun.
But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I guess until next time, Hawks are up.